The Deep Space Monitoring Station on Luna Base picked up the signal at exactly 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time. At first, the night shift operator thought it was just another space rock passing through the solar system. But this was different. The energy signature pulsed with a regular pattern that no natural phenomenon could create. "Control, this is Monitor Station 7, the operator said, his hand steady despite his racing heart. "I'm tracking an unusual energy signature at the edge of the solar system. You need to see this." Within an hour, every major space agency on Earth was analyzing the data. The signal was unlike anything humans had ever seen before. It didn't match any known space phenomenon, and it definitely wasn't from Earth or any of its colonies on Mars and Luna. The United Earth Space Command didn't waste time. They called an emergency meeting, and by noon, they had made their decision. The research vessel, Curiosity, Earth's most advanced deep spaceship, would investigate the mysterious signal. Captain Tom Miller stood on the bridge of the Curiosity, watching his crew prepare for their longest journey yet. The ship's fusion drives hummed with power, simple technology compared to theoretical quantum drives, but reliable and strong. His crew of 50 was the best Earth had to offer. Engineers, scientists, and explorers, all trained for first contact scenarios, even though no one really believed they would ever happen. "Engineering reports all systems green," his first officer reported. "Fusion drives at full capacity. We can reach the signal's location in 3 weeks." Miller nodded, his gray eyes fixed on the main screen showing their destination. "Let's make history," he said simply. "Take us out." The journey was tense. Every day brought them closer to the unknown signal, and every crew member felt the weight of humanity's first potential alien contact on their shoulders. They practiced first contact protocols, ran emergency drills, and double-checked their equipment constantly. On the 20th day, they got their first visual. The bridge crew fell silent as the image appeared on their main screen. There, drifting in the vast emptiness of space, was a fleet of massive ships. The vessels were sleek and beautiful, with designs that seemed to defy physics. But something was wrong. The ships were dark, showing minimal power signatures. "I count 50 vessels," the sensor officer reported. They're huge. The smallest one is about 3 times our size. But they're running on emergency power only. Most systems appear to be offline." Miller studied the alien fleet. Years of training told him to keep his distance, to observe and report back to Earth. But his instincts told him something else. Those ships needed help. "Open all frequencies," he ordered. Universal greeting protocol. The communications officer sent out humanity's first official message to an alien species. They used every known method of communication. Radio waves, light signals, even basic mathematical sequences that any advanced civilization should understand. For 10 long minutes, there was no response. The crew held their breath, watching the dark fleet drift silently in space. Then suddenly, their screens lit up with a response. The message was complex, carried on waves of energy humans had barely begun to understand. But their computers worked frantically to decode it, and slowly, the alien transmission became clear. It was a distress signal. The alien message painted a desperate picture. The fleet had been traveling through space when they encountered an anomaly that damaged their main drives. They had been stranded for months, their advanced technology failing them, their resources running low. They needed help. Miller looked at his crew. In all their first contact scenarios, they had never practiced for this. They were supposed to be the primitive species, the newcomers to space travel. Instead, they were facing an advanced alien civilization that needed their help. "Send them this message," Miller said, standing up from his captain's chair. "This is Captain Tom Miller of the Earth vessel Curiosity. We acknowledge your distress signal and are ready to assist. You are not alone anymore." As the message was transmitted, Miller knew he had just changed human history forever. Humanity's first contact with alien life wouldn't be as the primitive species seeking knowledge. Instead, they would be the ones offering help to a civilization far more advanced than their own. It was time to show the galaxy what humans could do. The first meeting between humans and the Star Wanderers took place through video transmission. Captain Miller and his crew stared in amazement at their screens as they saw their first alien. The being had smooth, silvery skin that seemed to shimmer with a faint blue glow and large, intelligent eyes that spoke of ancient wisdom. "I am High Commander Starsong," the alien said through the translation computer. We are grateful for your response, though we did not expect help from your species." There was a slight tremor in the alien's voice, a sign of both relief and worry. Miller kept his voice steady and professional. "We're here to help in any way we can. Can you tell us more about your situation?" What Starsong told them made the human crew exchange worried looks. The Star Wanderers were indeed far more advanced than humans, their ships powered by quantum cores that bent the very fabric of space. But 3 months ago, they had encountered something in deep space that their sensors hadn't detected until it was too late. A massive quantum storm that had damaged their drives beyond repair. "Our technology is complex," Starsong explained, showing them diagrams of their quantum drives. "Every part must be grown in special chambers over months. We cannot simply replace or repair them like mechanical parts." The alien commander's eyes dimmed slightly. "We never thought we would need backup systems. Our technology had never failed before." The Curiosity's science officer spoke up. "Your life support systems, how long will they last?" 17 days, Starsong replied. "We have been rationing air, water, and food. We have 50,000 people across our fleet." The alien's voice carried the heavy weight of responsibility. "We thought we would die here, forgotten in the void." Miller called an emergency meeting with his senior staff. The situation was worse than they had imagined. The alien ships were essentially dead in space, their beautiful but delicate technology useless without the quantum cores to power them. "Their systems are incredibly advanced," the engineering chief explained, looking through the technical data the aliens had shared. "But they're all connected. Without the quantum cores, nothing works at full capacity. They're like glass sculptures, beautiful but fragile." The medical officer added her concerns. "Their life support isn't just about air and water. Their ships maintain specific quantum fields that their bodies need. When those fail completely..." She didn't need to finish the sentence. Miller looked at his crew. "Options. We can't fix their quantum drives," the engineering chief said bluntly. "That tech is centuries ahead of us. But..." He paused, an idea forming. "Maybe we don't need to." The next transmission to the alien fleet was brief. "High Commander," Miller said, "we would like to send a team to your ship. Our engineers have an idea. It won't be elegant, but it might save your people." The aliens were hesitant at first. The idea of letting primitives board their vessels seemed almost insulting. But they had no choice. Their own attempts to find a solution had failed, their mighty technology useless without its power source. When the human engineering team boarded the alien flagship, they were struck by its beauty. The corridors seemed to be grown rather than built, with smooth curves and pulsing light lines everywhere. But beneath the beauty, they could see the signs of a dying ship. The lights were dim, the air was thin, and there was a feeling of decay that even advanced technology couldn't hide. The alien engineers watched with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism as the humans examined their systems. To them, human technology was prehistoric. All moving parts, burning fuel, and crude mechanics. They couldn't imagine how these simple beings could help them. But then the human team started asking questions, making diagrams, and discussing possibilities. And slowly, the aliens began to realize something that would change their view of humanity forever. Sometimes, the simplest solution was the best one. The clock was ticking. 50,000 lives hung in the balance, and humanity's first major test in the galactic community had begun. Amy Roberts had been an engineer for 20 years, but she'd never seen anything like the alien quantum drive. The device was beautiful, a crystalline structure that seemed to pulse with inner light even in its damaged state. But right now, she wasn't interested in its beauty. She was trying to figure out how to save 50,000 lives with technology centuries behind what these aliens used. The problem isn't just power, she explained to Captain Miller and the alien engineers. These ships need specific quantum fields to function. Without them, nothing works, not even the basic systems. She pointed to her tablet, showing the energy diagrams. But maybe that's not as big a problem as we think. The alien engineer, who called himself Blue Sky, tilted his head in confusion. Your primitive fusion drives cannot generate quantum fields. They are simply too basic. Amy smiled. It was the kind of smile that had solved countless impossible problems back on Earth. You're right. We can't generate quantum fields. But we don't need to. She pulled up a new diagram. We just need to make your ships move. Her plan was as simple as it was bold. The human engineering team had discovered that while the aliens' main systems needed quantum fields, their hull integrity and life support had basic mechanical backups. These backups were considered emergency systems, never meant for long-term use, but they could work. We can't fix your quantum drives, Amy continued, but we can hook up our fusion drives to your backup systems. Keep your people alive, keep your ships intact, and most importantly, get you moving. Blue Sky and the other alien engineers stared at the diagrams in disbelief. You want to tow our ships with fusion technology? The concept seemed absurd to them. It was like suggesting to use a horse to pull a broken-down spaceship. Sometimes the old ways work best, Amy said. She pulled out a small device from her pocket, an old mechanical watch. See this? It's over 100 years old. Still works perfectly. No quantum fields needed. The aliens watched in fascination as the mechanical hands moved smoothly around the dial. Their own timekeeping devices used quantum vibrations and could measure time down to the smallest fraction of a second when they worked. Right now, none of them did. Captain Miller gave the order, and the human engineering teams began their work. They started with the alien flagship, carefully connecting their primitive technology to the alien backup systems. The aliens watched with a mixture of horror and curiosity as humans cut through panels, ran cables, and installed mechanical interfaces. This is inelegant, Blue Sky commented, watching Amy's team work. Inelegant beats dead, Amy replied, deep in concentration as she connected power couplings. Besides, you haven't seen the best part yet. After 6 hours of non-stop work, they were ready for the first test. The human engineers had connected a spare fusion drive to the flagship's backup systems. If it worked, they could keep the ship's life support running without the quantum core. Amy stood at the makeshift control panel they'd built, her hands steady on the controls. Ready? The aliens braced themselves, expecting failure. The humans watched with hope. Amy pressed the activation sequence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, lights began to come on throughout the alien ship. Not the usual soft quantum glow, but regular electric light. The air circulation systems hummed to life, not with their usual silent efficiency, but with a noticeable mechanical sound. Blue Sky checked his readings in amazement. Life support at 87% capacity. Hull integrity stable. This is working. The alien crew watched in wonder as their dying ship came back to life, powered not by advanced quantum fields, but by what they had considered outdated technology. The humans had done the impossible. They had found a way to make the old and the new work together. Amy turned to Blue Sky with a grin. Want to see how we're going to move your ships? The alien engineer looked at her with new respect. Maybe, he realized, there was more to human technology than they had thought. Sometimes the simplest solutions were the best ones. The next 12 hours on the Curiosity were the busiest in human space history. Captain Miller had sent their success report back to Earth, and the response was immediate. Every available ship in the human fleet was being mobilized for the rescue mission. It's going to be the biggest towing operation ever attempted. Amy explained to the gathered human and alien leaders. The main screen showed her plan, a complex network of ships working together. We'll need at least 3 human ships for each alien vessel, connected in a triangle formation to distribute the load. The aliens watched as she demonstrated with holographic models. Human ships, small but sturdy, would surround each massive alien vessel. Their fusion drives, working together, would provide enough power to move the fleet. Earth is converting every space station in the outer system into temporary habitats, Miller added. We can't fit 50,000 people on our ships, but we can house them while we work on a permanent solution. Blue Sky studied the calculations. The strain on your ships will be enormous, he said. The energy requirements are within our capabilities. Amy interrupted. She pulled up new diagrams. Human ships are built to withstand much more stress than you might think. We had to be creative when we first went to space. We couldn't rely on quantum fields or gravity manipulation. We had to build things strong. The rescue fleet began arriving within hours. Mining vessels, cargo ships, even private spacecraft. Humanity had sent everything they had. Each ship carried extra fusion drives, cables, and supplies. The space around the alien fleet became busy with human vessels, like worker bees around giant hives. Time was critical. The alien ships' backup systems were working, but they weren't designed for long-term use. Engineers worked in shifts, racing to connect each ship to its human escorts. Every hour brought new challenges. The power couplings aren't compatible, one engineer reported, floating outside a massive alien cruiser. We're having to rebuild them from scratch. The hull materials react differently than we expected. Another team called in. We need to modify our attachment points. But for every problem, humans found a solution. When standard tools didn't work, they made new ones. When traditional methods failed, they tried unconventional approaches. The aliens watched in amazement as humans solved complex problems with simple tools and determination. Your people are very adaptable, Starsong said to Miller, watching the activity through the flagship's viewport. We would never have thought to use such basic technology in this way. Miller smiled. Humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. When we need to do something, we find a way. By the end of the day, they had successfully connected 20 alien ships to their human escorts. The first test of the full towing system was about to begin. Everyone held their breath as Amy gave the signal. The human ships fired their fusion drives in perfect coordination. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The massive alien vessel dwarfed its escorts, making their efforts seem futile. Then, slowly but surely, the ship began to move. Movement confirmed. The sensor officer called out. Speed is low but steady. All systems are stable. A cheer went up from both human and alien crews. It was working. The primitive human technology was actually moving these massive advanced ships. But they couldn't celebrate for long. They still had 30 more ships to connect, and time was running out. The alien vessel's backup systems were showing signs of strain, and the makeshift power connections needed constant adjustment. We have 11 days left before the backup systems start failing, Blue Sky reported. Can we move the entire fleet in time? Amy looked at the remaining work, then at the determined faces of her fellow engineers. We have to, she said simply. So we will. As she spoke, more human ships appeared from Earth's direction, their fusion drives burning bright against the darkness of space. The greatest rescue mission in human history was well underway, and failure was not an option. They were halfway through moving the alien fleet when the sensors picked up the storm. It started as a small reading on the Curiosity's instruments, but within hours, it had grown into something massive. Solar storm, the sensor officer announced, his voice tense. Biggest one I've ever seen. It'll hit us in less than 2 hours. Captain Miller looked at the data and felt his heart sink. They had 30 alien ships under tow, their human escorts working at full power. The remaining 20 ships were still being connected. They couldn't outrun the storm. not with their current setup. The alien ships' hulls weren't designed to handle this kind of radiation without their quantum shields, Amy reported from engineering. The backup systems won't be enough. High Commander Starsong's image appeared on the main screen, his silvery face showing clear worry. Our remaining shields are at minimal power. They cannot protect against a storm of this magnitude. Miller looked at the tactical display. 50,000 alien lives were at stake. The storm would hit them all equally, humans and aliens alike. But the human ships had something the alien vessels didn't: thick, sturdy hulls designed to handle the worst space could throw at them. Order all human ships to new positions, Miller commanded. Form a barrier between the storm and the alien fleet. The bridge crew stared at him. What he was suggesting was incredibly dangerous. The human ships would take the full force of the solar storm. "Sir," his first officer spoke up, "our hulls can only take so much." "They can take more than the alien ships right now," Miller replied. "And we have more ships coming. We can rotate positions, spread out the damage." He turned to the communications officer. "Send the order. Every human ship is to form a protective line. We're going to shield them with our own vessels." The alien leaders watched in disbelief as hundreds of human ships broke their towing formations and began moving into new positions. The smaller Earth vessels formed a massive wall in space, positioning themselves between the oncoming storm and the vulnerable alien fleet. "Captain Miller," Starsong called, "you cannot do this. The risk to your crews is acceptable," Miller finished. "This is what we do, Commander. We protect people who need help." The storm hit like a hammer of light and radiation. The human ships' hulls glowed red with heat as they absorbed the massive energy. Inside the ships, crews worked frantically to maintain shields and power levels. "Hull temperature critical," someone shouted on the Curiosity's bridge. "Radiation levels rising." "Hold position," Miller ordered, gripping his chair as the ship shuddered. "Rotate ships every 10 minutes. Don't let any vessel take more than it can handle." In the heart of the storm, humanity's primitive technology proved its worth. While the alien quantum shields would have elegantly deflected the radiation, the human hulls did something simpler. They endured. Thick metal plates, radiation shielding designed for worst-case scenarios, and redundant systems kept the ships functioning. Hour after hour, the human crews held their positions. When one ship's hull got too hot, another would take its place. The aliens watched in amazement as these lesser beings risked everything to protect them. "Engineering to bridge," Amy's voice came through, strained but determined. "The alien backup systems are holding. Our shield is working." Finally, after 6 grueling hours, the storm passed. The human ships were battered, their hulls scorched and systems strained, but they had done it. Not a single alien vessel had been lost. As damage reports came in, Starsong's image appeared again on the main screen. The alien commander looked at Miller with an expression that transcended species barriers: pure respect. "Your people," Starsong said slowly, "are remarkable, Captain. We thought our technology made us superior. We were wrong. True advancement isn't just about having powerful tools. It's about the spirit to use what you have to help others." Miller looked around his bridge at his exhausted but proud crew. "That's what humans do, Commander. We find a way. Now let's get your people home." After the solar storm, everything changed. The aliens no longer watched the human engineers with doubt or confusion. Instead, they worked alongside them, learning the value of mechanical systems and backup plans. "Your people build things to last," Blue Sky said to Amy as they repaired storm damage on one of the connection points. They were working together in space, their suits moving gracefully against the backdrop of stars. "Our quantum technology is efficient, but yours survives." Amy tightened a coupling with her wrench, the old-fashioned tool looking strange next to the alien ship's sleek hull. "That's because we couldn't take any chances when we first went to space," she explained. "One failure meant death, so we made everything as strong as we could." The rescue operation had gained new momentum. With the aliens now actively helping, the work went faster. They found ways to combine their advanced knowledge with human practical experience, creating solutions neither side would have thought of alone. "Look at this," an alien engineer called out, pointing to where they had modified a human power coupling with alien materials. "The efficiency is 30% higher than our calculations predicted." The human and alien engineers had discovered something remarkable. Their technologies complemented each other perfectly. The aliens' advanced materials made human mechanical systems work better than ever, while human engineering principles helped make alien systems more reliable. On the bridge of the Curiosity, Captain Miller watched the rescue fleet's progress on the main screen. They were moving steadily toward Earth now, the combined fleet of human and alien ships working as one. The alien vessels, once dead in space, were now alive with a mixture of their own backup systems and human technology. "Message from Earth Command," his communications officer reported. "All space stations are ready to receive the alien refugees. Medical teams are standing by, and they've prepared living quarters for everyone." Miller nodded, remembering how quickly humanity had mobilized for this crisis. Every nation had contributed something: space stations, supplies, medical equipment. Old rivalries had been forgotten in the face of this massive rescue operation. "Captain," Starsong's voice came through the comm, "we are receiving the data about the space stations. Your people have done so much work in such a short time." "That's another human specialty," Miller replied with a smile. "We're good at coming together when it matters." The fleet moved steadily through space, human ships guiding their alien charges careful. After the solar storm, they had modified their towing arrangements. Now each alien ship had extra protection, surrounded by human vessels ready to shield them if needed. In engineering, Amy and Blue Sky worked on improving their hybrid systems. The alien engineer had brought out some of their quantum monitoring equipment, finally repaired using human parts. "These readings are fascinating," Blue Sky said, studying the display. "The way your fusion drives interact with our systems. It's creating patterns we've never seen before. It's less efficient than quantum power, but it's more stable," Amy finished. "Sometimes simple is better." The aliens were learning other lessons too. They watched how human crews constantly ran drills and maintained backup systems. They saw how human ships carried spare parts and repair equipment, ready for any emergency. "We became too dependent on perfect technology," Starsong admitted to Miller during one of their daily meetings. "We forgot the importance of being prepared for failure." As they approached Earth's solar system, the mood among both fleets was triumphant. What had started as a desperate rescue mission had turned into something more. A lesson in how different civilizations could work together, each learning from the other. The aliens watched with growing excitement as Earth appeared on their screens, a blue jewel in space, surrounded by stations and ships ready to welcome them. Their advanced sensors might be working at minimal power, but they could still see the beauty of their sanctuary. "Home," Miller said, looking at the planet. "At least until we can get your ships fully repaired." Starsong looked at the human captain with what could only be described as a smile. "Perhaps," the alien leader said, "we have found more than just a temporary shelter here. We have found friends." 6 months after the Great Rescue, Earth had changed forever. The once empty space stations now buzzed with activity as humans and aliens worked side by side. The Star Wanderers had kept their promise to share their technology, but they'd done it in a way no one expected. "We're not just giving you our quantum drives," Starsong announced to the United Earth Council. "We're working with your engineers to create something new, something better." In one of the orbital laboratories, Amy Roberts and Blue Sky stood proudly before their latest creation. It was a hybrid drive system that combined the best of both worlds: human reliability with alien quantum technology. The device hummed with power, its quantum core protected by layers of human-designed safety systems. "The quantum fields are 30% more stable than our original design," Blue Sky explained to a group of visiting engineers. "By adding human mechanical safeguards, We've solved problems that plagued our systems for centuries. The aliens had learned from their near disaster. Their new ships, being built in Earth's orbital shipyards, all featured multiple backup systems. They had discovered that humanity's primitive approach to engineering, having backup plans for backup plans, wasn't primitive at all. It was wisdom born from hard experience. Captain Miller, now Admiral Miller, watched from the observation deck of Earth's newest space station as another hybrid dry ship completed its test flight. The vessel moved with the grace of alien design, but had the sturdy reliability of human engineering. "We've received another request for joint human-alien crews," his aide reported. 3 more alien fleets want to retrofit their ships with hybrid systems. News of the rescue had spread quickly through the galaxy. Other alien civilizations, hearing how humans had saved the mighty Star Wanderers, were suddenly very interested in Earth. But they weren't coming to teach or guide humanity anymore. They were coming to learn. "Humans have a unique perspective," Starsong explained to a gathering of alien diplomats. "They understand something many advanced civilizations have forgotten: the value of simple solutions. Their technology may be younger than ours, but their approach to problems is invaluable." The rescue had changed humanity too. Working with the aliens had accelerated Earth's technological development, but not in the way anyone expected. Instead of simply adopting alien technology, humans were helping to make it better. They added backup systems, improved safety measures, and found ways to make complex technology more reliable. In her new role as Chief of Hybrid Engineering, Amy often thought back to that first moment when they'd connected a fusion drive to an alien ship. "We didn't just save their fleet," she told a class of mixed human and alien students. "We showed the galaxy that there's no such thing as primitive technology. There are only different ways to solve problems." The Star Wanderers had officially made Earth their second home. Their original fleet, now fully repaired with hybrid systems, remained in orbit as a symbol of the partnership between the two species. But more importantly, they had become teachers and students at the same time, learning from humans while sharing their knowledge. "The galaxy is changing," Blue Sky said to Amy as they watched a sunset from the space station. For centuries, civilizations rushed to abandon their old technology for something newer. Now they're looking back, remembering the value of reliability and simplicity. Word spread through the galaxy about Earth, the planet where advanced technology met practical engineering. Ships from dozens of civilizations came to learn the art of hybrid engineering, each leaving with a new appreciation for humanity's contribution to galactic science. But perhaps the most important legacy wasn't technological at all. In the great meeting halls of alien civilizations, they told the story of how a primitive species risked everything to save strangers. How human ships formed a shield against a deadly storm to protect those who had once looked down on them. How humanity's first major act in galactic society wasn't to ask for help or knowledge, but to offer it to those in need. As Admiral Miller liked to say in his speeches to new cadets, "We didn't join the galactic community by having the most advanced technology. We joined it by showing what humanity does best: facing challenges, helping others, and never, ever giving up." And across the galaxy, when anyone spoke of Earth, they no longer called it a primitive world. They called it the planet that proved advancement wasn't just about technology. It was about heart.